This is Bad Popp. I got bad news. I ate some Del Taco for breakfast. And my producer back there, I'm smoking him out. Winning.
Thank you.
And I also have some bad news for your Libtards out there, because I've been beating around the bush for a long time. And finally, I'm setting my sights on you, and I'm honing in on your goddamn dumbasses. So this episode is quite simply the making, if you guessed it, the Libtard.
Everybody knows you never go full retard.
It takes a special kind of stupid to freely state that all men are potential rapists. And in the same breath say, I'm Islamophobic because I'm acknowledging the fact that they are attacking cities all over the world. But according to you Libtards, it's okay to condemn all men in America based on the actions of 0.027%. But according to them also, we have to hold back judgment while cities are being bombed, people are being killed, people are being raped in mass numbers from the Muslim migration. Now, does that make any sense to you? Because if it does, you might be a Libtard, and I'm going to explain how you became one. And with that being said, why don't you crawl into your safe space with your blankie and edit all the trigger words out, you bunch of bitches. Yeah. If you stand against the Libtard, you'll be labeled. And they only do that because they cannot back up their arguments with facts, numbers, and statistics. They're judging you on emotion. And you know what I say? F that. Emotion never, not once, predicted a battle or stopped a bullet. This is a chicken coop, and everyone behind here has 5 fences to protect them from the predators that exist in the real world. Each one of these circles represents a protective force that's insulating you from the rest of the world here in the United States. Number 1 is your city police. Pretty much always been in existence all the way back to the Middle Ages. Your county police didn't really come into play until the late 1800s, early 1900s. Number 3, your state police, 1905 to 1927 usually. Number 4, your federal police, and they really didn't get their balls until roughly between 1920 and 1930, 1935. Now, the military branch has been around since the beginning of time. Nowadays, this is pretty much all regulated by the government. Back in the old days, when the family was the building block of society and people handled their business locally, there was no prisons. If you f***ed up, they put a gun to your head or they hung your dumb ass. Some of you Libtards out there would say,
hey, that's barbaric.
Somehow we got away from that type of living that was very, honest.
You the one killed our friend?
That's right. I shot the boy too and I enjoyed it.
Because quite frankly, if you're an independent, honorable person, you never had to worry about that shit. The people who lived back then took personal responsibility for themselves, their lives, and what took place around them. Back in the old barbaric times, when it came time to smash swords and shoot muskets at the British, you weren't standing next to a professional soldier. You were standing next to your neighbor. It was basically a militia, or you threw together an army when you needed it to go handle your business, and then it came down and people went back to work. That is not taking place these days. And what you have today is a bunch of Libtard idiots who want a bunch of free shit simply because they live behind the safety of 5 goddamn fences. The minute something goes crazy, they'll expect all of these 5 fences to protect them. And these suckles will go to these political rallies, see the 5 fences, and punch them in the face, and feel absolutely justified in doing so. Oh, and I love this part. They're keyboard heroes who get their internet from the capitalist society while making socialist remarks. Winning? No. What's that? Oh, wait a minute. I can't hear what you're saying over all the bullshit coming out of your mouth and iPhone. And sounds like life is really good in that chicken coop you live in. Why don't you bend over and let life give you the big red rooster? Winning. Because I'm going to explain to you exactly how these idiot Libtards were created. Now, first of all, what they have to do is simply make you dependent upon the state. After they made the Social Security after World War II, they started sending the jobs outside the country. They outsource everything, and it's totally legal under the color of law. The government steps in and pumps in federal money so you don't starve and you have a house and the lights are always on. As of today, we are now on our 4th generation of children being raised completely by their mothers, and they are absolutely dependent upon the government titty. And if that doesn't breed entitlement, I have no idea what does.
Thank you, government, for putting me on. I mean, you was the definition of a real father.
Next thing you want to do for the chicken coop, you want to pipe in only what you want them to know, to dumb it down, to make it sound like it's okay. And it's not, more important than the goddamn basketball game. If you live in a country where 90% of the media is controlled by 5 dudes, that should probably scare the living shit out of you. But apparently it doesn't, because you liberal tards out there are still swallowing it hook, line, and sinker. Every goddamn thing you see on TV. Normally I don't get political, but just look at the voter turnout for Hillary Clinton, and that itself seals the deal. Let's go back 40 years to, say, Richard Nixon, who had to resign the presidency because he bugged a hotel room and then erased the recordings. And in 2016, you got a FBI person of interest who bobbled secrets of the United States and got people killed and can still run for president. And this really just blows my mind, is you absolute idiots don't care. I'm putting on my frustration face because you liberal tards are just f***ing nuts, I don't know. And also, to make these people even more dependent upon the government, you want to smash up that bedrock that had made society throughout all of human history. The family. You want to make them dependent on that government check. You don't want them to make their own money or rely on the family. And that was done with no-fault divorce, making everything you do a domestic violence crime, and all the other laws that you put in place that favor women over dudes. And this is actually just the best magic trick I have ever seen. They are actually hiding all of the failures of these single mothers by creating a prison state. You want to make the single mothers the bedrock. How can you explain the fact that the media still pushes feminism down your throat when only 1 in 5 women actually identify as a feminist? Because that rhetoric is critical in increasing government reliance.
Thank you, government, for being my kid's daddy, and thank you for putting me on.
Indoctrination process usually started in college back in the 60s, but it's been coming down and down and down until they start in kindergarten, because there are no winners and losers and everyone gets a trophy, Common Core, and all that other bullshit they're teaching your kids. And they're doing so simply to induct them early. And with this happening, I weep for the future. Imagine this. The media actually acknowledges that 80% of the people in prison were raised by single mothers. When that happens, guess what? The sympathy, the money, the support for all these single mothers, out the goddamn window. They bring the father back into the picture, and we have balance again.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. Enough, I get the point.
When I'm talking about liberal tarts and when I'm attacking you know it's you, I'm not talking about politics. I'm talking about people who are pro-family and anti-family. And you liberal tards think you can hide behind the dictionary definition of feminism like with some kind of shield? A movement is not dictated by its definition. It is defined by its actions. And the feminists have been destroying the bedrock of society for over 4 generations.
Feminists do not want you to lose custody of your children. The assumption that women are naturally better caregivers is part of patriarchy.
Their fight actually ended in the 70s. And all they've been doing since then is glorifying single mothers, scapegoating men, and turning fathers into bums. And if you don't like that, so what, comma? I don't care, and the truth hurts. Deal with it. And get ready for your rude awakening, because it's coming. And here is the lie amongst all lies. Most of these social programs right here, they're directly or indirectly hooked into your Social Security, which was set up for the old people as a retirement, but now pays for almost all of this bullshit. Here's an example. They're destroying the bedrock of society, the family, going after the father for child support. The Title IV money, the federal government is paying the local government to go after that child support and reimbursing them dollar for dollar And that comes right out of Social Security, baby. And what really creates a Libtard? These single mothers raising these kids to be entitled, which they do behind 5 fences of protection. And all of those men out there raised by single mothers to be the man that she could never find are being dumped in droves by the women who don't want them. You might as well not even bother pulling on the shrink wrap it came in, because it's not going to see any action. Gonorrhea, no. Also, on a side note, have you seen what most feminists look like? Probably sporting a bigger peg D than me. Just saying. If not literally, then figuratively, because they've been using the hell out of it to f this country all up. So you dudes stand and watch on one of these 4 fences, and you're feeling a little bit, I don't know, disheartened at the actions of these Libtards? Why don't you check out my Patreon and PayPal pages below. Send me a couple bucks so I can keep saying this. I've been there on the 5th fence, and I know exactly what it's like to be not appreciated. And you liberal tots out there, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Because if you do, I'll shoot the big red rooster, and we'll fry him up for dinner. Winning. Hang on, I'm two-fisted drinking over this one. And another way to destroy the family bedrock is to turn men into negative stereotypes. Not that I know anything about that or anything. Hang on, man. When you think of something, you think of how you want it said, and then you bring it down 2 notches to caveman level. And depending upon where you live in the country and your ethnicity. That's a crack addict. That was fucking beautiful. That was a good one.
Beautiful.
Ah!